Hey there, folks. This is Rocky Red Panda here for PND Studios, and it's this week, the week of August the 30th, 2020. But before we get into today's show, let me talk to you about my friends over at That Sounds Gay. That Sounds Gay makes wonderful Pride merchandise for all of your Pride fun. Save 30% off your first order by using promo code PandaN Designs. Alright, and welcome back to this week. Again, it's the week of August the 30th, 2020. We have a fun show for you. So we're going to be introducing two people here, and we're going to bring them out. But let's go ahead and talk about this week's theme, because this week's theme is going to talk about sports. But we'll get more into that.
Mainly one sport.
We'll get into that, but before we do, let's introduce our guests. We're going to bring in Mr. Pony off to the side there. So, come on out. You've seen him on my show before. He is quite awesome. And then we got Mr. Will on the other side. So we have here Barca, and Chelsey. Okay.
I'm Jose Salinas, also known as Pony, and that's Will Signor.
Yeah, we kind of did something a while back on my other show, so we're going to go ahead and get into this. So we're going to get into what we call the good, the bad, and the hump. So how this works out, we take some of this week's news and we kind of break it up and talk about the good, the bad, and we ask questions about it. And this week is all about sports, but we're going to be talking mostly about football. That's right. You may call it soccer, but we call it football. So let's get right into the good, the bad, and the hump. So let's first talk about sports during COVID-19. So the good, well, we have sports. The bad, COVID-19. So let's go ahead and talk about this. So with the sports, they've actually came back. I mentioned it on my previous show. You have baseball, you have soccer, you have hockey, and all of the sports have come back, but there's no fans in the stadium. Instead, they put little cutouts of people behind them, and sometimes the teams themselves, they sit in the stands and make it look like it's full. But with COVID-19, they really put a hammer down right in the middle of all these sports as they were playing, and they had to take a break, and now they're coming back. And there's teams that are now getting COVID. They're getting tested for COVID. Some teams are positive. Let's not talk about the Marlins with the Phillies and what happened in that whole situation. That was not good. We hope we don't have something else like that. But let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and talk about sports and COVID. So, boom, let's talk about you first.
Well.
Oh, go ahead. No.
Well, I don't know much about other sports because I don't watch it. But in soccer, which is football, mainly what they're doing is teams have to get tested before every game. They have to do a test during practice. It's called a PCR test. It's a COVID test. They have to, and then if they're negative, well, they can't play. They can't travel. They have to be quarantined for, I think, 14 days. And then during the game, one team comes out of the dugout first, wearing masks. Then the referees come out. I mean, it could be different each league. It could be the referee first. But what I've seen, because I watched the Spanish League, and I watched Champions League, and a little bit of the Premier League. One team goes out first, then the refs come out, then the other team comes out. They don't stand in a straight line. There's no team handshaking, no nothing. They just go out straight onto the pitch and start the game.
Okay, so with that being said, do they play in multiple stadiums or do they have one stadium where the teams all play?
In the United States, the MLS did a cup. It's called MLS is Back or something. I can't remember the exact name. They did it where they all went to Orlando at a sports complex and they all played a mini tournament. Now the MLS said, okay, we'll give the okay to come back. The regular season started, so they start playing at their home stadiums. Every European team played at the home stadium. At their own stadiums, but they all had to get COVID tested before they traveled and pass all these rules and regulations. Champions League, which is all Europe plays together in one competition. They all played at the venue where they were going to host the final. From the quarterfinals to the semifinals, just to keep everybody safe, and they did that tournament done within a week and a half.
What about their seasons? Are they shortened? Are they the same
No,
length?
they just picked the seasons like any other sport, like not necessarily baseball because it didn't start yet, not necessarily football because it hasn't started, like American football because it hasn't started yet, not necessarily like hockey where, well, hockey they kind of just said what playoffs and
Yeah.
right? No, this just they stopped and then they said we resumed afterwards, but instead of playing soccer, we're normally play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and some leagues play Monday, some leagues don't play Friday because they have a game on Monday. What they did is they had to finish within the 5-week time span, so they played. So every day after COVID was a game. Some teams played like let's say one team played Wednesday. They had 2 days to. They had 3 days to play again. They played Wednesday. They were playing either Saturday or Sunday again. They played Tuesday. They were playing Friday again. They were playing 2 games within a week. Just to get the league done with it, because they wanted to do the leagues finish first before they resumed Champions League, because they weren't even sure if they were going to resume Champions League. Champions League was almost not even able to come back.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, they said they were resuming Champions League before America could even get their crap together with the tournament.
Which is freaking hilarious.
You know, that just proves how bad America is.
Yo.
With anything.
Well, we're going to go off on that with COVID. I mean, what do you think are some of the changes that are going to be implemented for future of not just football, but for sports in general? Because I know with, especially with some of the sports, they're talking about reducing the number of fans they're going to have in their stadium, and they're going to kind of social distance fans. And some of the sports are saying, well, maybe no fans at all.
Well,
I think in the Community Shield this past weekend, they had them all sitting together.
Huh.
They were at least 6 feet apart. They had to be, I think, I don't know if the game was live, because now, which is stupid, because of COVID, they should make everything accessible live, because you can't go to the games in shortened. But they're trying to make everything about money now, so they're putting everything on ESPN Plus or on CBS Access, which is dumb. I am different because I watch La Liga, which is only on beIN Sports. If you don't have that channel, which only Dish has it, you got to buy Sling TV to get access to it. But he watches the EPL, which he liked what they did with the EPL. They were able to put all the games on TV. You were able to watch most of the games just on TV without having ESPN Plus. They made that access. Yeah, but I think, and he can agree with me, fans aren't going to be able to come back next year. If they are, it's really reduced. They're still not going to have handshakes. They're still going to have to wear masks. And the 5 sub rule might still. There's normally 3 subs you're allowed to do in soccer, but they do 5 now because of COVID, because players just stopped doing activity for 3 months. So, but you're only allowed to do 5 subs and 3 times. You get 3 times to make your subs, and if you don't do all 5 subs and those three times you're allowed, then you don't get your 5 subs.
You can sub during halftime though, and it doesn't count.
Yeah, that don't count.
Huh. Interesting.
And what they did during COVID also is they do this in soccer, and I'm sure they do this in a lot of sports too, like sports are outside. Not football, American football, because they stop every 5 seconds because of a tackle or stuff. Where if it's really, really, really hot outside, during halftime of the first half and halftime of the second half, they will stop to get a water break. They did this during COVID just to get the players refreshed, because a lot of these players didn't even play for 2 months. Some of these players tested positive during the COVID, so when they actually got healthy and came back, they weren't really up to like game level anymore. So they decided, since this COVID hit, we're gonna stop halfway during each half and just give everybody a water break.
What's up, Drew?
Hey, Drew. How
What
you
up, Drew?
been? All right, so I'm going to ask a question. It's kind of one that's currently in the news. So right now, Black Lives Matter. That's all over. And just recently, you're talking about sports teams, not just in America, but in Europe as well, all taking a knee or stopped playing sports for at least 1 game, all because of what happened with the shooting in Wisconsin.
Well,
I mean, how do you think that really affects sports?
We'll have a really strong opinion about that in sports. Take it away.
Yeah, there you go. Let's hear it from Will.
I mean, to be honest, those people that are taking knees don't have to worry because they're rich. Like, they're entitled to everything, so it doesn't really matter to them.
I mean, what do you think about the teams just walking off the field just saying, I'm not going to play because someone got shot and we're going to have to cancel this game?
Well, then they should forfeit their
And
game.
they should get fined.
Yeah, I agree.
And the other team shows up to play and say, hey, we're here to play. then you should forfeit your points.
If I go to work and walk out, I'm not going to get paid.
You're fired.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yep. The only league that they didn't do the Black Lives Matter was La Liga. La Liga said, "Fuck Black Lives Matter," all this crap. They were hit. If you guys followed the COVID thing, they along with Italy were hit the worst in Europe with COVID. So they didn't even worry about Black Lives Matter. They did a moment of silence before every game, and they did a clap during the 20th minute of every game to signal 2020. They did a moment for COVID. They did nothing with Black Lives Matter at all. It was all thank you for the people who and also I'd like to say shout out, thank you for the nurses, everybody who still worked, all the truck drivers who put long hours, risked their lives out there for this pandemic. You know, if it wasn't for you guys, this pandemic would have been a lot worse. Some of these poor countries don't even have. Some of these poor countries might not have the impact of COVID we have because they're smaller, but it's worse for them because they don't have the same safety measures we have. So all you people out there who are still working, thank you for your service, and thank you for helping us during this pandemic.
And thank you, especially thank you to in Pennsylvania. It's like Rachel Levine and Governor Wolf for doing such a good job and getting things out there and making sure that we, as Pennsylvanians, stay safe.
Yep.
So we're gonna move on from the world of Black Lives Matter, and we're gonna talk about seasons of football. Let's first start with Chelsea over here. How do you think Chelsea performed last season compared to their new season and what's coming up?
I think they did well last year. Top 4, couldn't sign anybody. Sounds like a win
That was
to me.
that was their own fault for not signing anyone, by the way. But I give props. I do agree with Will here. I give props to Lampard.
We had a transfer ban.
Yeah, but that was your guys' fault.
No.
Yeah, it was. Shouldn't have done what you did.
So then why was it cut a year? You either keep it for 2 years or you don't chop it at all.
Because of COVID.
It doesn't matter. But it was nice seeing our young players play,
Yeah.
so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I will agree with him. Lampard did do well with what he had going on. I mean, I was expecting them to finish like
10.
No, I wouldn't say 10. I was expecting them to finish like in a Europa League spot, like 6th or 7th. Because I think they still have the depth. Because they're still a top team. I would consider them a top team from their history, but I didn't expect them to get 4th place.
I was afraid of where our goals were going to come from,
Yeah.
not how many we would allow, because we allowed like 60 goals last year.
I mean, if you only won 1-0 or 2-1 and you just keep winning, that's plus.
That is.
But Timo Werner scored his first goal yesterday, so that's good.
That was good.
What do you think about Ziyech getting hurt already?
I don't think it's serious.
Yeah, I don't think it's serious at all. It was looking like a scare, but I don't think it's that bad. I think you'll be fine.
Well, moving on, we're gonna talk. I'm gonna talk a little bit more with you about Ian Hazard. What do you think, and how is his performance with his new team, Real Madrid? And how do you think his transition from playing with his previous team, moving on?
I mean, he definitely doesn't have to do as much at Real Madrid, but when he does play, he's been good. But the problem is he's been hurt, so he needs to get fully healthy, and then come back this year and play well.
I agree. I mean, you're talking to a true Eden Hazard fan, has every jersey he could possibly have. I mean, you'll see in a minute who I go for and everything, but he's just way over the top, more than me for Eden Hazard. I mean, it really hurt him when he left, but he knew why. But it's not nearly as bad as what's you guys are upcoming.
Hey, we got 100 mil. We just got Warner with them. We're gonna get Kai Havertz.
But I'm just saying, Hazard was the bread and butter of that team. He did a lot for them, especially winning them the last Europa League trophy before he moved on.
That's actually pretty good. But speaking of within the same La Liga league, of course, now Hazard can play against Messi on the team that we all are, both of us are wearing, which is FC Barcelona. So let's go ahead and let's talk about what's really big in the news. You thought COVID was number one? Actually, it is not number one. Number one in the news right now is Messi, because Messi is talking about moving from FC Barcelona.
He's a quitter.
Well,
he quit Argentina twice, and now he's going to quit Barca.
Well, technically, he's not quitting Barca because if you go for that way, then Ronaldo quit Real Madrid, Hazard quit. Every player who got transferred quit their current team. So it's not really quitting. He just wants to get
Well,
transferred
I
out. Quitting means he doesn't want to play at all soccer. Like the international team says, I'm not playing for the international team anymore. That's just quitting. Saying he can't. He's not playing.
Well, I think the reason he's talking about leaving is this season the downfall of Football Club Barcelona, because they played horrible this season. And because they played horrible, he's just realizing it's just not up to par, and he wants to find a better team that he can play a lot better and actually win. I mean, what do you think to that?
First of all,
So, Ronaldo left Real Madrid, winning Champions League. Hazard left Chelsea, winning Europa League. Messi leaves Barca, losing 8-2 to Bayern this year. He lost against Liverpool 4-0 away from home. Then the previous season he lost like 3-0 to somebody. I think it was Roma.
hey, you're talking to a guy who only won Chelsea team was only won Champions League once. So talk to me when they're on our par.
I mean, watching Barca lose to Bayern, that hurt.
No, I thought it was great.
He thought it was great, but that hurt. I mean, that was hurtful. I mean, when you talk about that, Bayern's a good team. I know, but Bayern's a good team. But you expect Barca to put up their A game, to play better this year, but they were not playing up to par. Which goes back to Messi talking about leaving and possibly switching teams. And the person to talk about that would be this one over here. So talk about Messi a little bit. Why do you think he wants to leave?
Because they've been a failure the last 4 or 5 seasons. That's why.
He is pissed off because Messi is one of his favorite players. He thinks Messi is God.
Messi is God. He's the greatest. Tell me when you've seen a player who scored 91 goals in one season break every record ever. I just want to put this out there. Lewandowski is probably having the best season of his life, but Messi's, and everybody's saying Messi's having the worst season, but Messi still got 20 plus goals and 20 plus assists in his worst season. So how do you say that? How do you say he's doing bad when he has those stats? Stats that a lot of people, even on their best season, don't even have. But
no, he's playing good. He's just doesn't have anyone else around
yeah,
him.
but just ask is, but going off by George's question, why do you think what's the downfall from Barcelona is? I think it all started when our ex-coach, not our ex-coach, our ex-president, Johan Laporte had to step down because there was a scandal. If y'all remember, we got Neymar back in 2014. And it was a huge deal. We were doing great with Neymar and everything, but then there came the scandal of Neymar having money laundering problems and fraud and evading taxes and all that stuff. To avoid this whole problem, our president Laporte, he stepped down. He stepped down because of the scandal, and we got our vice president Bartomeu, who's a total dickhead. He could go fuck himself. I hope he gets in his car right now and kills himself.
No, don't say
No.
But you know why? You know why? Because of him, things have been going from bad to worse.
Hey, players got to play well in the field.
No, but because of him, things have been going on bad to worse.
Just to let you know, I do not condone what he just did
I love this.
killing
I love
cars.
him. I love him. He was a great player. He was probably one of the best defenders to ever play. Eric Alpidal, great, fantastic player back in like between 04 and 07. Great player, but Bartomeu brings him as our technical consultant, and he has no lick of idea what to do in that position. Eric Alpidal does these horrendous signings, buys all these people for all this money, which they're not worth that much, and we're just screwed. Because Bartomeu sells Neymar when honestly Neymar left because he didn't want to be in Messi's shoes. But honestly, we could have kept Neymar. Just give him a little bit more of his contract. They wanted to give him more money, so he left. And our biggest problem though was when Xavi, Iniesta left. Our midfield just crumbled. We got Bartomeu who was power hungry, and to keep these players happy, gave players like Busquets, PK, and Jordi Alba Suarez these huge salaries and got their egos going, but saying I have a comfortable starting position at Barca. I am moving from my starting position, so why do I have to try and all that stuff? They just stop caring. And then when you
PK doesn't care about the game. He's going home to Shakira.
I mean, she's hot as fuck. I mean, honestly, I'd be smashing at it if I could, also. But I mean, and then when you got Messi on the field, and he does everything for you, you're like, well, I don't have to try. I think that's part of Barca's problem is they rely too much on Messi. Our system is where our system started. We used to play this beautiful tiki-taka system where just pass the ball short, lateral passes, back and forth, string 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, up to 30 passes before we even lose the ball. I remember one time where I saw them string like 20 passes together. They fed the ball to Messi. Messi juked 2 guys and scored. I mean, it's one of the best things I've ever seen. But we're just relying too much on Messi. That's why we couldn't do shit. We have players right now that are 30 plus years who need to leave. We sell our youth talent for minimal to nothing. We scout all these old like we let Arthur just go, which I am not saying it's not a bad idea to let him go because I think that was a way for Ricky Pugh, who's just coming up to get his chance and play for us. But we got Pjanic. He's 30 plus years old. We don't need a guy like that anymore. We could have got a younger player who's okay and just build him up. And yeah, we got Pjanic, who's like, he's like 30 years old. And we don't need people like that anymore. We need youth talent.
Arthur, De Jong, and Ricky Pugh would have been a good 3 for years.
Yeah, that's our problem. It's just, Barca lost their philosophy when Bartomeu came on of our youth squad. Eric Abidal's scouting wasn't good. I can't remember who they brought as their medical staff after, because our whole board got revamped when Bartomeu came in. But our player Dembele, who we got for a crap ton of money, over 100 million. He's been injured because he couldn't figure out why, and he couldn't figure out how to fix him because every time he got healthy, a week later he was injured again, or 2 weeks later he was injured again. It's our crappy medical staff. We just don't have good people in office right now. That's our main problem. We don't have somebody. We don't have anybody to say, hey, if you don't play good or if you don't do good, you're on the bench. These players are just relaxing. Well, I have a starting spot, and I make $200 million every week. I don't have to try hard. They're not going to sub me. That's our main problem. And then you're like, oh well, we have Messi, so if we're losing 2-0, he'll just score 3 goals and we'll win the game. So why do I have to try hard? That's our biggest problem. There's no power. They're not power hungry. We're not what we used to be.
Well, you can't rely on one player to kind of back up the whole entire team. It's like the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's like if Sidney Crosby goes, the team is like, we can't play well. Because when he was injured once, of course, the team did horrible. But when he came back, the team did well again. With Messi leaving, you need to at least have someone that's going to take that spot, that's going to be there where Messi was. And it's going to be that leader and actually bring the team back to winning games this upcoming season.
They might be better without Messi because they don't have to rely on him. They're going to have to find other people.
I think they just need I think honestly they just need like, I would love Messi to stay. He is probably the greatest player to ever play the game. The only problem is that he needs to stay. But we need, if he does stay, he needs to stay and tell everybody, because he's the leader. What he says goes on that team. What he says goes. He needs to say, hey, Busquets, you're not playing well. How about you're not playing well? You're on the bench. These young people are hungry. I'm telling coach, I'm putting these guys in instead of you guys. But I might honestly it hurts like hell. Like if he does leave, I'm probably gonna cry my balls out.
Well,
if he leaves, these players are gonna have to realize, hey, this is serious now. If we were winning because of Messi and all this stuff, we were ended up winning games and being all right. But since we don't have them, if we don't perform, we're just gonna be benched, and other young people are gonna come in and take our spots.
Well, here's the thing: if he does leave, There's been talk that he might go to an English league. There's also been talk he might go for an Italian league. But it's all about the money, if I'm hearing this correctly.
No.
No,
No.
it's not about the money.
Messi
Not
wants
about the money.
trophies. No.
Yeah,
Messi has plenty
Got
of
it.
money.
He wants
Unlike,
trophies.
unlike Ronaldo, Messi's not about showmanship. It's not about.
Ronaldo's got enough money too.
I mean, it's not
Yeah,
about.
he has plenty of money.
But
They're rich.
I'm saying, unlike Ronaldo, Messi's not all about my brand, all about all flashy stuff. Ronaldo had his own underwear line and stuff.
Yeah, they're great.
You wear them?
Of course.
Of course you would.
You've heard it. He wears Ronaldo's underwear.
But anyways,
It makes me feel like I can win a Champions League.
well, not with Juve, because Juve is awful.
No.
No, but anyways, unlike Ronaldo, if you don't get it confused with the Brazilian Ronaldo, this is Cristiano Ronaldo, guys. Yeah, all you ladies, the one that has the hot body. Yeah, all you ladies. But I mean, he's not all about it. He's not all about his image and his physique. He says, I like to let my work do the talking. I just play football because I enjoy it. He wants to go to a team where he would enjoy playing again and possibly having a chance of winning and stuff again. He wins La Liga almost every year because...
Not this year.
I said almost every year. Well, because there's really no competition. It's Madrid, Barca, and then you got Atletico Madrid sometimes making a run for it. It's really not that not many teams challenge for the top spot. So
again, we're going to bring back the question: if Messi were to leave, which teams are we eyeing that he will probably go for?
One. Man City.
Man City.
There's been talks of Inter, but I think the biggest and number one team right now, and it's either this or I think he stayed. Yeah, and it is Man City. If he doesn't go to Man City, I think his ultimate position would be I will stay, because I don't think Inter. He said Inter, he has interest in it, but I think ultimately it's either City or he stays.
Well, he scored in his last season with Pep. That was the season he got 91 goals.
But you're also talking about the season where he had Messi, Iniesta, Xavi, PK, really good PK, Victor Valdez, Sergio Busquets, who was really good, who was young but really good. You had Jordi Alba, who was really in his prime. You had Cesc Fabregas. You had David Villa. You had all these players who were fantastic. That was the team where at one point you had all 11 players on that Barcelona squad come out of the youth academy. So you had a pretty depth squad when you did that. That's just a team that will never be repeated. No team will ever come close to that. No team, no league, nobody will ever come close to that same Barca team that did all that. That was just incredible. But honestly, like he says, like Bull says, I think it's City or nothing. And he knows more about the Premier League on me. How do you think Messi will adapt to going to City?
We'll do fine. I mean, Man City's going to attack every team just as much as Barca does. So they're not going to play defense. He's going to take over the David Silva role for Man City. Him and Kevin De Bruyne will be playing center attacking mids, have free reign to go wherever they feel like.
Well, what if Messi decides to play on the wing?
I mean, he can play out there.
Which his normal spot is the right wing.
He can play out there, but I think they're going to play him at the David Silva spot, which is that cam.
So if Messi leaves, who do you think's going to take his spot as the captain?
Honestly, I think it would be PK just because he's been there the longest. Even though he's trash, but if you gotta give it to somebody who
is vocal.
Is vocal. PK's very vocal. He's just really slow, and I think him being good is just over. I just think you need somebody who knows, because he's been there for a good bit. He's at the age where he's like, because I wouldn't give it to someone who's 20 unless the whole team's super young, like Ajax. Who did Ajax get it? Had it? Was it De Jong, right? Who had the captain? But that Ajax team who had it when De Jong had captain and they made their Champions League run in the semifinals, they were super young. Like they had all young people, so you couldn't really give it to somebody who was there a long time ago because they were all like in their 20s pretty much. But this Barca team, PK's been there the longest besides Messi, so you would have to give it to PK if anything.
Yeah, but I think he's looking at the door too.
From what I heard,
He can't catch anybody.
but from what I heard,
You could run past him.
from what I heard in our project, he is one of the players who is over the age of 30 who we're looking to keep just because of his leadership.
Huh.
All right.
So, talking about new, I heard they got a new first coach for Barcelona. What can you tell us about that new coach?
He is nothing new to Barcelona. His name is Ronald Koeman.
Koeman.
He is the ex, and I say ex because he left them to join Barca. He's the ex-Dutch national team, but was probably, besides Carlos Puyol, was probably the best defender ever to play for Barcelona. Won him the very first Champions League title in 1994. Scored an amazing kind of long volley kick. Not really a volley because the ball wasn't in the air, but the ball came to him. The ball came to him on the ground, and he just first timed it, and it hit the back of the net on a corner just to win him the first ever Barcelona title, Champions League title. So Ronald Koeman knows our philosophy very well. Knows what Barca is like Johan Cruyff. Those two were what made Barca's philosophy and idea of the tiki-taka style. So I think with him, our project, we signed him for 2 years, and I think with him, our project is get youth in our team. And I quote, he said, if you don't play well, you don't perform, you're sitting on a bench. I don't care if you're 30, 20, if you're a legend, if you've been here a while, if you're not good, you're sitting on a bench, which is prominent. And I think that's what we need. Just players know their place is not safe on the team anymore. They just know, like, if I screw up, I'm out.
That's interesting. Well, we're going to step away from Barca for a moment. We're going to talk a little bit about Chelsea because there's rumor that Kai Havertz misses training for Bayer and that he actually might be signing to join Chelsea. So, what do you think?
I mean, that deal's pretty much done. I'm pretty sure they agreed to a $90 million transfer for him. But that deal's been done for a few days. I think the holdup is Bayern's trying to sign someone to replace him. So I think that's the only holdup right now.
And just to be clear, if you guys follow soccer, if you guys kind of follow soccer, the transfer window should be ending, but due to COVID, it's being extended in October because the leagues aren't starting until like mid-September.
I mean, how do you think Kai Havertz what do you think he'll bring to Chelsea, and how do you think he'll perform to where he performed in Bayer?
I mean, he's pretty versatile all around the field. He can play up top, on a wing, in the midfield. So they're getting someone that can play pretty much anywhere. But I would say he would play right beside of Mason Mount in the midfield.
Where would you like him to play? Where do you think he would shine the best at? Like, honestly, what do you think? Like, if I were the coach, where would I put him, and where would I think I would get the best out of him?
Well, I say we're going to play a 4-3-3 pretty much all season. Pulisic
Okay.
on the left, Warner up top, Ziyech on the right. Then I think you got to play Mason Mount and Kai Havertz, the attacking mids. And then it's a matter of time if we keep Conte or sell him. If we sell him, then Kovacic would play there. If we keep Conte, then Conte will play there.
And who's in your back?
We don't have the answer to that
That's
question.
the biggest question.
We haven't bought those people. We got Thiago Silva.
Yeah, they just signed Thiago Silva on a 1-year deal, which is
We got Ben Chilwell left back.
Ben Chilwell and Thiago Silva.
So we got Rudiger at center back, and then Reece James or Aswood-Equator. I think Aswood-Equator's time is up, so I think Reece James should be starting.
And speaking of goalies, who do you think is going to start, and who do you think has not just start, but who do you think is going to be better for you guys in the long run? Is it Caballero or is it Kepa, or if you get anybody new?
Well, Caballero just started the friendly against Brighton.
Yeah.
So I think he could possibly be the keeper, but I would prefer Kepa. I just think so many goals this year were not his fault.
Yeah.
but we're looking at the Ajax keeper.
Yeah,
I just saw we're looking at the one German keeper.
There was rumors of them trying to get Oblak and Ter Stegen. Oblak from Atletico Madrid, Ter Stegen's from Barca, but that deal didn't happen, which I don't know why they just didn't push to get Oblak, which I think was very possible. They could have got Oblak, but they didn't.
They should have, but they didn't want to pay his release clause.
Which honestly, for a world-class goalkeeper like him, I would have.
Yeah, I mean, I'd still consider sell Conte for him. You can get rid of Marcus Alonso, get rid of Christensen, get rid of some of the loan players. You can bring in enough money to do that deal.
Yeah.
So how do you think, well, let's kind of move on because we know the transfers. Is Barca getting any new players this year?
They will if Messi leaves. I guarantee it, they'll spend that money somewhere.
Well, it's been... They didn't actually get any new players.
Or should I say, did he have their eye on anyone?
They didn't actually get any new players now because they got players in the January transfer.
Okay.
It just happened. They got Trinaco from Ajax. He is a right winger, super fast, very technical dribbler. They got Pjanic, which they already had that deal done before August. They had that deal with the trade between Arthur plus money Arthur in exchange plus money for in Pjanic. They haven't really gotten anybody else because their philosophy and what they're trying to do now is bring up the youth academy players. That's why they got this coach to build their youth academy. And before Barca really never bought anybody, they would rely on their youth academy players and just bring them up. After they got a season or two in Barca B, they would bring them up. That's where Xavi, Iniesta, Victor Valdez, Piqué, Fabregas, and all them came from our youth academy. We have Ansu Fati, who was a breakthrough star for us this year. Never once played a Barca B game. Came straight from the Barca A juvenile team. Debuted as the youngest Barca player ever. He even beat Messi in these stats. As the youngest Barca player ever. At the age of 16 in a couple months, he was the youngest Barca player to ever start any game, La Liga and Champions League. The youngest player to score in the Champions League ever in history. The youngest player to get a double in La Liga. The youngest player to score a goal in La Liga. He is probably the biggest replacement to Messi. Like if Barca sells him, they're going to be so stupid. He does get a new release clause saying his release clause right now is 400 million, and he's only 17. That's his release clause. He signed a new 4-year deal. So he finally because until you're 17, you're not allowed to get an actual. You're allowed to play for the senior team, but you're not allowed to get an official contract until you're 17. So he just finally got an official contract, and a player that I've been eyeing for a while. Barca's been eyeing for a while, but no one had the balls to play him before until we fired Valverde. Not Valverde, yeah, Valverde. And we got give me a second. I remember. Well, the coach who we just had. I can't remember his name.
I can't think.
I don't know who it is.
The one we just fired.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Anyways, he had the guts to play this kid, and Will saw some of his playing, and this kid was phenomenal for Barca the minutes he got. He played. He had no problem of playing. He had no problem of playing the ball forward. No problem of tackling. He always tried to look. He never really tried to look just for Messi. He tried to look for people who were open. He tried He tried everything. He tried was to go forward. His name is Ricky Puig. He is the guy who people were saying, why don't we give him a chance? Why don't we give him a chance? Since he was 19, people were like, why don't we give him a chance? Why don't we give him a chance? He's 21, and our past coach who we just fired had the balls to play him, and I guess Barca realized, hey, this guy's a gem, so we just extended his contract, and I think he is probably going to be a starter next year. So I'm looking forward for Ricky Pugh in our team. We also are looking about getting Eric Garcia. If that Messi deal happens, Eric Garcia is in that deal. He's the next Barca, the next Barca Academy player, but he is in that deal with City for us. If City does get Messi, that's in our deal. We want to get Eric Garcia.
All right.
We have Ronald Araujo, who's from our youth academy. Also, he got caught up. He got caught up for some Champions League games and some games because we had Blaine Litt and TT injured for a while.
Yeah.
He's been a bright star for us. So I think he's already transitioned to that first team. We have Firpo, who's a sub to Alba, but he's staying. We have Sergio Roberto who can play in the midfield and right wing, along with Nelson Semedo, who plays with the right back. We're looking to get Dest from the American from Ajax. That's a long shot, but we're looking to get him to revamp our squad. Dembele just came back from injury, so I'm hoping he stays healthy for the whole season and he plays. Lautaro Martinez is a long shot, but I don't think we're going to get him. But he is one we might get next year. I think next year is more doable. We'll get him next year.
Okay.
We got Griezmann, who could play.
Oh yeah, Griezmann.
He's one we got. But they've been playing him on the left side.
All right.
So they're going to try to move. I think with this coach wants to play everybody in their position that they're supposed to. Because I think Suarez is out the door. Suarez is looking out the door.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be if Messi stays. Honestly, if Messi stays, our start lineup is going to be. If Dembele can stay healthy, it's going to be Dembele on the left side. Griezmann up top. It's a 4-3-3. Griezmann up top. Dembele on the left side. Griezmann up top. Messi on the right. Ricky Pugh or Pjanic, and left or right. Ricky Pugh or Pjanic and left or right mid. It doesn't matter. That's interchangeable. De Jong was really young, guy from Ajax last year. He has to play that center defensive spot. Don't play him in the mid spot when we start playing him. I think you bench Busquets, make him just a rotational player, like a sub player.
I'd sell him.
No, I'd keep him just for the games you need him, because I think he would be a great sub. Like if he realized, hey, I'm losing my spot, so I need to get my act together. I think he'd be a great sub player.
He's old.
You still put Alba on the left side if you need that leadership, because Alba's still pretty quick. You bench PK. If we keep Messi, you bench PK. Let play on the left side. If we get Eric Garcia, if we get Eric Garcia, put Eric Garcia on the right side. If not, then I guess you go. And if you don't get him, I guess you go let him PK. But you gotta get that youth. You gotta get that youth talent on our team. That youth has to come back. Otherwise, Barca will not win a trophy. Will not win Champions League for the next decade. They will not win Champions League if you don't get that youth spot. The youth academy players, or just in general, youth in that team. We will not win Champions League for a while again.
All right, so we're gonna toss this because we're done with talking about. Boom. So we're gonna end this a little bit different. We're gonna talk about the changes because we're gonna go back to COVID for a moment. With all these changes that the sports teams, especially the stadiums, have enacted, what changes do you think they're going to keep? What changes do you think that they're going to get rid of? And how do you think it's going to affect the future of playing football?
I mean, it's not going to change them playing at all. I mean, soccer's still soccer. You're going to play regardless. But fans are just going to have to wear masks. That's pretty much all they're going to have to do. Maybe get checked before they go into the stadium.
I mean,
I don't see anything else.
a lot of jobs around the world are doing that anyways. They're like doing temperature checks, so it's no different than if you were to go to a regular job.
I think they might limit the number of fans they're going to have in the stadium because you don't want to overfill the stadium because with football games over in England, especially when Liverpool plays and when Chelsea plays, they're overflowed to capacity. And you all want to get in there to watch, and you're all going into the pubs or pub crawling to watch it on the TVs.
And Will can attest to this. Some of the big teams suffered because there's no fans on the field.
Yeah.
Just look at Liverpool, and I think Will agrees with Liverpool. They didn't win the season before COVID hit, but they were pretty much so ahead that all they needed to win was a couple more games, which they did to win. But they were destined to beat the record for the most points. They didn't because they just did so poorly after COVID. They were going to win the league because some of the teams they played were so easy that even playing their B squad, they could have still beat them. It's just some of these big teams didn't do good after COVID. Like Barca. Barca did terrible after COVID. Horrible.
I think it shows how important the fans
yeah,
are.
just terrible.
Especially to Liverpool.
I mean, the fans are important.
Like I'm sorry. Like I know you were listening or you're still listening, Drew. But I mean, you guys were destined to win. You guys were destined to beat the record, but without fans, I think it hurt you guys really bad. You guys should have beat that record of the most points in one season.
I will say Leicester was another club that really suffered. They should have made Champions League.
Getafe, who is a little bit higher than mid-table. Who's a little bit higher than mid-table team. They played really. Even Will saw them play a little bit, and he thought they were doing fantastic. After COVID,
I thought they were doing good.
Well, yeah, they were. Well, yeah. But after COVID hit, they just lost their form, and they were in a Champions League spot before COVID comfortably with I think 4 points or 5 points ahead. They just ended up didn't even make a Europa League spot, to put it that way. No, they did, but they barely made a Europa League spot, to put it that way.
Let's not talk about our American team, DC United, because they just suck all around.
I will say there was a couple clubs that really turned it on though after that restart.
Yeah.
Sevilla was one of them.
Yeah. Sevilla just won their 6th Europa League, which is a step down from Champions League.
They also got back into the top 4. They were below the top 4 before the.
Way below. They weren't even going to make Champions League on Europa League almost.
Atletico Madrid was really questionable if they were going to make Champions League this year. And they had no problem. They went like 12 points clear of 4th place. So those two clubs really turned it on. Man United, they turned it on. They got Rashford back. They only lost, I think, 1 game.
I will say Fernandes did really good for them. I know he got a lot of penalty goals, but he was one of the players after COVID who really stepped up for them, and that's how they did so good. They did too.
Him and Pogba played really well together. Yeah,
because they also got Pogba back and stuff. I mean, Pogba was a little bit back before COVID, but since they got that break, he was able to heal better. I mean, we got Suarez back after COVID, but that didn't help us at all.
All right, and we're going to end with what we call. I'm going to do something a little different. We're going to call it the Hot Minute. So we did the good, the bad, and the hot. The Hot Minute is I'm going to give you two a chance to say what you have to say. But let's go ahead and let's start with Will this time, because I know he's got a lot to say about the legend of Saint Messie, as he likes to call it.
The legend? You mean more of a legacy?
Well, the legacy of Saint Messie. So how do you think? Let's talk about Chelsea, and we'll also talk about Eden Hazard. But let's talk about Eden Hazard first. With his switch to his new team, how do you think his transition, and what does he have to do to be as good as what he played on Chelsea?
Be healthy. I mean, that's pretty much it. He was out for 40 games last year.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if Will could agree with me, I don't know what he did during the summer, but he got kind of fat. And his form just wasn't the same. Like you're going to a good club like Madrid, I wouldn't be getting fat. I'd be like exercising, getting myself fit, trying to get that next step. Where like, hey, I'm here to play. I am here.
Yeah.
I am here. Yeah. But I think he'll be fine. He adapted
well. He just liked the food in Spain.
Yeah. But even Will agrees. I think he adapted well when he did play. He was kind of influential. He just didn't have the time because he got injured and he couldn't, and it wasn't healthy.
I will say for Real Madrid, he didn't have to try and win them the game, though. He has other pieces around him now
Good.
that are much better than what he was playing with at Chelsea.
And what do you think Chelsea's next season is going to be like? What are your future predicaments, and how do you think they're going to do?
I mean, I would hope that they would finish top 4 this year with spending all this money.
She would hope to win the title, but that's
You would hope so.
It's hard to say because we're getting so many people so late in the season right now. I think, like, we just literally signed Thiago Silva. We just signed
Yes.
Chilwell.
Yep.
Our season starts in 2 weeks. That's not a whole lot of time, and I'm sure they have to be quarantined to get into the team. So
No.
that's 2 weeks right there.
But the only good thing about those type of players is they still have game about the transfer window. Since a lot of these teams still play Champions League, they still have game fitness on them. But it's still going to take them a while to adapt to a new team.
Yeah.
Not
the
yet.
EPL is faster.
Okay.
Like Thiago Silva just played in a Champions League final, so he's still game rhythm. He still has his game rhythm. It's just going to be adapting to a new team.
I was going to say the transition into the new team and to a new environment.
He's so used to the French league where the EPL, a lot of teams are better than any team over there.
Interesting.
But I'd like to see them finish top 4. I think they could challenge for the league if they play well from the
Okay.
start. But if Man City get Messi, I think
I just
they'll
don't
probably
think.
win it.
I honestly don't think your depth is there. Like your team starter depth might be there, but your sub depth is not there yet.
Plus, you never know how every team is going to play with no fans.
Mhm.
I think it can change dramatically from game to game. One team looks great one week, and then they look crap the next.
Well, I just got to jump in and say, what do you guys think about the artificial fan sounds that they put in all of these games at empty stadiums?
Honestly, at first I was kind of like, I liked what the Bundesliga did when they started. They started very early back in May. They had no fans, no nothing. It was just total silence. You could hear the game. You could hear them like.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, you could hear them.
I thought that was awesome.
I didn't know look at what they're saying because most of them were speaking because most of the Bundesliga players are actual German players. Like the Liga besides the Spanish league is the league with the most homegrown players playing in their league.
Right.
Like I couldn't even understand what they said, but it was cool being able to hear like people talk on the field and stuff, and like it was kind of cool.
It was good to hear the ball hit a foot, too.
Yeah.
Like, you could hear it hit the foot. You could hear it hit the post. You could hear anything.
You can actually hear the ball hitting the grass.
But then after that, the Spanish league started first before other leagues, and the Spanish league did it where they did the virtual fans, like when the game stopped and you saw a replay, you see no fans, but when the game was actually live, they had virtual fans on the stadiums and they were doing the fan noises. I thought it was okay, but you could see virtual fans only in some spots. In some spots, it was completely blank. If they're gonna do virtual fans, they should have covered the whole thing.
I would pay for one. I would pay for myself to be at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, but if you're gonna do, like I said, if you're gonna do virtual fans,
Yeah.
it had to be the whole stadium, not just one section and everything else blank.
I agree with you on
that was
that.
kind of weird.
And then moving over to you, we're going to talk about the great legend of Saint Messie, because right now, again, we had the possibility that he will be leaving Barca, but he is leaving Barca with quite an amount of trophies, wins, and we got Tony over here, and let's hear a little bit about Messi. So, what kind of outcome did he bring to Barca? He's leaving with all this, and if he does leave,
Well,
let's go.
Messi's 31. Messi's 33.
When did he start Barca?
Messi's 33. And we're 2020. So if you do your math correct, 10 years ago when he, no, 20 years ago, at the age of 13, Messi started his career at Barcelona, going to the youth academy. If you don't know his story, he came from a poor, humble family. I wouldn't say poor; they were middle class. They were considered middle class for the country. He came from Rosario, Argentina. Played for his local club, Newell's Old Boys, and from the beginning, everybody said, "You're great. You're going to be a prize. You're better than everybody else on this team." The problem was he had a hormone hormone deficiency, and and his parents couldn't pay his treatment because if the hormone deficiency cost as much as 1 month salary his dad worked in a factory, and a lot of these clubs in Argentina got word of this prodigy, but they didn't want to sign him because they said, "Oh, we ain't gonna risk this kid. What if he doesn't grow? What if he doesn't get his?" I'm short. I'm 5'1". I don't have a hormone deficiency. I'm just short. But Messi would have been shorter than me, like 4'8", if he didn't get his treatment because he really had a condition. These teams in Argentina didn't want to sign him because they're like, we're not paying for a treatment for this guy. We're not spending all this money for a kid who we might not even know if the hormone treatment works. News got to Spain, and word hit Barcelona, and Barcelona invited Messi at age 13, and at age 12, and his dad to fly to Barcelona, and try out for Barca. When Messi got there, the scouter who invited them said to Cesc Fabregas, who was also a youth academy star, he said, "You see that little kid? His name is Messi. I want you to mark him." And Cesc Fabregas was like, "I got him, coach. There's no problem. I'm gonna put him on his ass, make him look like a joke." One move in practice, one move during a scrimmage, put Cesc Fabregas on his ass. Messi dribbled around 3 more players and scored an amazing goal. This is the worst. You can look this up online. This is the worst of Cesc Fabregas, and he said, "Coach, you gotta sign him. He's gonna be a prodigy," and that's where Messi's legacy started. And where it became official is at a restaurant, as the scouter and Messi's dad sat together, and they asked for a piece of paper, they didn't have one. So he wrote the contract on a napkin. So there is a napkin if you go to Camp Nou that has Messi's official offer for Barcelona's youth academy there. So that's history.
So what is Messi leaving Barcelona with? How many wins? How many trophies? And what does Messi expect if he does move to Manchester? What kind of legacy will he leave with Manchester? And what is he leaving behind?
Well,
he's leaving behind failure. That's what he's leaving behind.
Ooh. Oh, that's bad.
No.
I mean, he's a great player, but
no.
It's been failure the last 5 years.
Failure goes on the whole team. That's just one player. The whole team is failing, and I think with him leaving, makes this a new area to get better and do better stuff.
Do I need to mention the Argentina team?
No. Hey,
twice.
Hey, he bought him to the 2014 World Cup final. The only thing is, his teammates didn't finish the job. But anyways, Messi is the only player.
Who quit 3 times.
Who is the only player who's. He's the only player who scored more than 700 goals. 700 goals to his name for one club.
That's because Ronaldo's done it for.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have 700 goals.
All right.
How many does he have?
Like
He's got to be up there.
He's the only player. In 2012, Messi scored 91 goals for club and country in just 69 matches.
Yeah.
That's an average of a goal every 68 minutes.
I'm saying he's good.
Only player to score more than 40 goals. He asked me what is he leaving behind. He said, only player to score more than 40 goals in 10 consecutive seasons.
Okay.
First football ever to score consecutive against all teams in the professional league.
All right.
Most European shoe awards, he has 6, which Ronaldo has 5. All-time top scorer in the Liga, he has 444 goals. He beat Timo Sara's record of 311 goals.
Okay.
Top assist provider in the Liga with 183 assists. Fastest player to reach 100 goals in the Champions League.
Mm-hmm.
but he hasn't won a Champions League without Iniesta.
Top goal scorer in a Clasico history. He has scored against Real Madrid 26 times.
Okay.
How many games has he played against them, though? 2 a season at least.
Of course, he has a cheat sheet here, so.
I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know these stats over my head because there's just a lot to keep track of.
Well, let me put it this
But
way.
I mean, what he's leaving behind, just to put it in perspective, he's leaving behind a legacy, a lifetime at Barca. He has never played for another club in his life. He came straight as a kid to this team, and he's been there his whole life. Just this season alone, even though COVID stopped, even though people are saying he has having one of the worst seasons of his lifetime, and I'm talking about all competitions. Across all competitions this 19/20 year, he scored 35 goals, had 25 assists, 3 hat tricks, 92% minutes played, 82% passes complete, 4.65 shots per game, 6.45 shots per goal. He has 131 minutes per goal, and has only been substituted twice in his lifetime. And out of 7 yellow cards he got this year, he only had 1 red card that was due to a double yellow card. So he's leaving behind a whole legacy. I don't think everybody will ever see another player like that and play for one club. And even when he dies, or I wouldn't say die, when he retires, we're never going to see a player like him. Even Ronaldo retired. We're never going to see 2 players battle a lot like they did. There's never going to be 2 players like them at all. Messi's leaving the legacy at Barca. If he stays, he stays, and I'm glad he stays. But if he leaves, I wish him the best of luck. I will follow him until I'm a Barca fan for life. I will follow Messi wherever he goes. So if he stays, he stays. If he leaves, he leaves, and I hope he does well wherever he goes.
And this last question, one simple answer. Do you think Messi's going to leave?
Yes.
What about you?
Yes.
All right. We have that down. So this is Rocky, and of course we got Will, and we got Pony over here, Chelsey, Barcy. It's been our Barca, not Barcy, Barca. This is a long one. It's been awesome, you guys. So make sure you like and subscribe, of course, to all the videos.
I'm going to make a bold prediction. If
Let's
Messi leaves Barca, Chelsea will go further in Champions League than they do.
Oh.
I don't think so. You're in what? You're in pot 2, aren't you?
Yeah, same as you guys.
Well, yeah, but I think our team is still better than yours. And I'm not saying because we have Messi. I'm just saying I just think with you guys having so many new players, it's just gonna be difficult for you guys to play well together. I mean, you could surprise and beat the team of the season, but I mean, it's just a factor. You guys just got too many new faces.
I'm going to make a bold prediction, and that's what I'm going with.
I'm gonna make a bold prediction and say that Messi leaves, Barca doesn't win anything for the next 2 years. But I'm okay with that. We just need a project. We just need to go moving forward. We just need our youth players to step up and get a chance. And we need to get back to the tiki-taka style. We need a couple seasons where we don't do anything like we did this year, and just build squad in depth like Chelsea's doing. Chelsea's doing fantastic. Just realizing, hey, we might not win anything, but we're building for the future, and that's what Barca needs.
Yeah.
Build for the future, not for the now. Future is now.
All right, you guys heard it here first. Again, my name is Rocky, and of course we got Will, and we got Pony, we got Barca, and we got Chelsea. I wish to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. And if you have any comments for any of these 2, leave them in the comments below. For you on the live feed, thank you guys for watching. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them down there. One of these 2 will get back to you because they're sort of experts, but they know what they're talking about. Until next time.